Okay guys, welcome back. Now we are moving on to object control skills, mainly catching, throwing, striking, kicking and dribbling. Now the main objectives for all these skills is as follows. Identify the importance of developing object control skills, identify the different types of catches and throws, analyze a catch, throw, strike, kick and dribble, identify the main safety precautions in catching, throwing, striking, kicking and dribbling, and describe the basic progression and regressions to develop catch, throw, strike, kick and dribble. So I think one of the important messages that might not have come through yet in our actual class setting is the importance of knowing what is good movement and what is not good movement, and how to cue someone to help them develop that skill. So we have touched on it slightly in our teaching games for understanding. As I said, we changed our pedagogy from the skill-based approach, which was very isolated, and you do the activity in isolation away from a game, to the teaching games for understanding, where you incorporate the skill into a game setting. So here is one example, but we'll come back to this just now. Let's first start with why it is important to know how to catch and throw accurately. I think if you pose this question to yourself, and if you had to think about yourself playing games where catching and throwing are required and you cannot catch and throw, firstly, it can affect your self-confidence in participating in those types of activities. Secondly, if you only really start catching balls of different densities, for example, a cricket ball versus a netball ball versus a volleyball, tennis ball and so forth, that can cause you to either get injured, especially in cricket, when you play with a cricket ball. If you've never caught a cricket ball before in your life, and now you're required to do it, you're most likely going to get injured. So it is important to start off with all the different types of sports games that you have, and the different balls that you play with in these games, so that you can learn the textures and also the feel of it. So when you're working with children, or when you're working with someone who has never played the game before, you don't just start off with throwing and catching immediately. You first let them get used to the actual feel of the game. Okay, so how would you analyze a catch? Let's look at a video first and see how you would analyze this catch. Okay, so would you say that was a good catch or not? Let's have a look again. Okay, let's look again. So what are you looking at? And what is he doing wrong? And how can we cue him to help him improve his catch? Okay, so hopefully after watching that video you know that of course was not a good catch, and there are quite a few fundamental things that need to be improved. So let's quickly have a look at a catch. Eyes focus on the object throughout the catch. If you look at this little boy's eyes in terms of whether he is focusing on the catch or not, just watch his face quickly. He looks away, looks back. Okay, so not too bad. He's looking at the ball, but he's diverting his face away from it initially, which is not what you want. You want the face for beginners. They normally do that. They look away, but you want to maintain eye contact throughout. Feet move to place the body in line with the object. Hands move to meet the objects. Feet move, hands move. Let's check what happens here. Okay, so his arms stay extended out, and he basically scoops the ball up, and he does not adjust his body to get to the ball, although he didn't need to, because his mom threw it right at him. Okay, hands and fingers are relaxed and slightly cupped to catch the object. Catches and controls the object with hands only. Elbows bend to absorb force. So let's have a look at that again. Okay, so elbows did bend, but it's more again of a scooping action. The hands didn't catch the ball, it's more the entire arm that caught the ball. So our goal for this little boy would be to help him improve his catch. Can you think of ways in which you would improve his catch? Hopefully, if you thought about firstly the mom moving closer and not standing so far, both of them sitting first and him just taking the ball from her and learning how to grasp the ball with two hands and bring it towards his chest and then give it back to her, and then reach out, grab the ball, bring it back while sitting about a meter from each other, throwing and catching the ball in that position, then moving further away. So for your very beginner individual, that is what it will look like. Okay, here is the example of a catch as well. Perceptual motor system. Remember I told you about the perceptual motor system, your ability to coordinate your limbs in timing to a object being thrown to you. So this little girl doesn't quite understand why she needs to catch a ball, or yeah, very beginner and very beginning throwing style. So probably 3 years old, and that's what you can expect from a 3-year-old. Okay, so moving on, I think it's quite clear what makes a good catch, and just showing you a beginner catch, and here is a progression, adjusting and so forth. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but the size of the ball definitely makes a difference, and that is true. When you're beginning with children, you actually don't want a large size ball, because it actually causes them to cup the ball with with the arms, as opposed to catching it with the hand. So a medium sized ball will do. Okay, what type of catches are there? Well, you can catch towards your chest, overhead catch left and right side of the body, and catching the ball at the feet. Catching above with 1 or 2 hands, and catching above with different types of objects. Again, the different types of balls. So you want to create variety. You can use the movement analysis framework to really progress the activity appropriately, and make the activity of catching and throwing fun. Okay, how would you analyze a throw? So let's have a look at that. So the next activity is a throw, and let's look at this child's throwing action. So what would you look at? Would you say he's a good thrower? I'd say he looks about 6 years old. Look at that. Okay, so if we're looking at the throwing action, what did you notice? I hope that whilst you're watching, you would notice the stepping action. You would notice the opposite arm to opposite leg action. You would notice the slingshot action of the hand as the body follows through. So, and you notice the eyes focus forward. So eyes focus forward towards the target. Stand side onto the target area. Throwing arm moves in a downward and backward arch. Downward and backward arch. Throwing arm moves in a downward and backward arch. I suppose it depends on what throw, but yes. Let's have a look. Okay, so he doesn't quite have a downward throwing arm action, but in your more advanced individuals, they definitely will. Okay, steps towards a target, hips, then shoulders rotate. Normally you'll see block rotation in beginners, where the whole body rotates as one unit, and then throwing arm follows through, down, and across the body. Let's have a look, because then that helps dissipate the momentum. Now, believe it or not, there we go. Notice how it crossed the body. Okay, so just to know with throwing activities, bringing it back to a biokinetics point of view, as I showed you in one of the previous videos with the non-ossified bones, a common problem noted in little ones is where they throw too many times, and obviously that eccentric load on the arm causes the muscles to pull away from the bone, and the child gets the actual bone pulling off of the epicondyle of the humerus. So you want to be making sure that you limit the number of throws that you do, and then obviously ensure that you bring in strength training into your activities to help strengthen the body itself. Okay, so that would be the throwing action. What types of throws are there? Again, this depends on the sport, so you can have a look at these throws, and it will be specific to the skill, but for now we're really just doing the overhead throw, and that is basically how that will be performed. And obviously each one, netball, rugby, volleying, cricket and so forth, have their unique throws, but it all starts at the base. Okay, so I've shown you some of those videos. Let's go on to the kicking action. So how would you analyze a kick? Let's have a look at this video. Very much a beginner, starts at the basics. Whoa, okay. Watch the kicking action. It's where it starts. So if you've got kids or you've got cousins, little ones in the house, make sure that there is a ball in the house so that they can just start practicing. Okay, so kicking action, we'll notice eyes focus on the ball throughout the kick. Forward and sideways swing of the arms in opposition to legs. Non-kicking foot placed beside the ball. Bends knee of the kicking leg to about 90 degrees. Contact ball with the top of the foot or shoelace kick or instep. Again, that depends on what the goal is of when you're kicking. And kicking leg follows through high towards target area. Okay, so some of us in the class, actually probably most, are pretty good at kicking actions. It looks like most of us come from a soccer background. Maybe I can't say most, it's actually about half of the class. So let's just have a look here. Some more videos of beginners. I think it's beginners kicking. Yes. So notice here, before you start kicking a ball or even asking children to dribble the ball, get them used to what the ball feels like under the foot. Same as you would with the hands, throwing and catching. You got to develop their perceptual motor systems. Okay. A lot of people, when they start off, we actually had an incident in one of our classes before where the individual put their weight on the ball and sprained their ankle. So this is just starting with proprioception. Let's have a look. Same thing. And notice the girls and boys don't have real proprioception. So this is what you can expect when you're really starting out. And again, this is where everyone starts out. Whether you're small or adolescent or adult, you got to start off with basic proprioception, moving around the ball, getting your body awareness and your hand foot coordination in. Let's have a look. Okay, that's it. And then yes, a 4-year-old who's clearly had this ball in his house, and he's been playing and he's developed his skills to the point that he's quite agile. We're going to be doing running soon, so when you analyze a run, what should a run look like? Foot coordination, motor learning, motor control, good footwork. That's it. That'll improve as it gets older. Kick. And notice that kick. Let's just look at that kick again. Okay. Watch the kick and run up, step and kick. Eyes focus on the ball, step with the foot next to the ball and then kick the ball. Just have a look if there's anything else in this video that could really demonstrate a little bit more of an advanced kicking action. But again, 4 years old, not too bad. Definitely not too bad for a 4-year-old. Okay, moving on. Please add the following to the kick. With the stance foot pointing towards the target area, swing leg is initiated with hips rotating forward. The contact foot hits the ball in the middle of the foot, which is locked rigid. Run up to kick ball must be a 45-degree angle and not straight. Okay. So what part of the foot can you kick with, stop and maneuver ball with? Okay, those of you who know the soccer quite well, this will be natural to you. For those of you who don't, just have a look here. Inside, outside and top of the foot, and that's what you want to show individuals when you're taking them for basic ball skills, and stop the ball with the sole, or you can even stop the ball with your head and a chest strap, and then maneuver the ball. You can perform step overs, dribble with the inside, outside or top of the foot, depends on what your goal is. Okay, I've just shown you those videos. So how would you analyze a dribbling action with the foot? So let's quickly look at this: criterion levels of performance. I will just look at the advanced one. Advanced performance always taps the ball so that it stays within 3 or 4 feet of self. So you'll notice with beginners, they'll kick the ball way too far ahead, and then they're not actually dribbling the ball, they're just kicking the ball. Advanced performance always uses the inside and outside of the foot, left and right, to tap the ball. So you'll notice the individuals in our class who are really good at dribbling, they can use both sides of the foot, in and out, and they keep that ball just about 3 feet ahead of them, and their movements are quick. And always has eyes looking forward. So obviously when you're playing a game where, if we had to look at soccer, you want to be looking up so that you can see your opponents, and you can see where you're going to kick to, and you can see where you're going to attack and where you're going to defend. So it's quite important that the eyes are looking up. For beginners, you will be looking at the ball. For advanced individuals, you'll be looking up so that you can see where you're going to kick to. Okay, so let's have a look here. I think this one's more kicking or dribbling. Well, dribbling in this case. So how would you analyze that? Well, he's 3 feet ahead of him, but definitely some improvement there, more just looking ahead than actually focusing on the ball. Okay, so I think that's the only one I have for the dribbling action for now, but I'll add some more videos in class so that we can have a look at beginner, intermediate, advanced dribbling. Okay, how would you analyze dribbling action with the hands? Okay, so let's first show you a video. Here is a video of children dribbling with their hands. Okay, notice. So I think with the video you can actually start seeing what this lady is saying about what makes a good dribble and what doesn't make a good dribble. And when you were learning the dribbling action in class, and you actually played the game, or we did the teaching games for understanding, a lot of you said, bend your knees slightly. Don't let the ball go past the waist. Spread those fingers. Relax those hands and absorb the force as your elbow bends. Okay, so let's have a look here. Fingers are spread and relaxed. Push the ball down with the wrist and fingers, controlling the bounce. Follow through with the arm going into extension. Push the ball slightly forward ahead of the body. Remember, slightly ahead. Some of you were saying that an arm's length away. Again, arm's length is far. elbows bent, ball is close to body, and keep the ball below the waist. Okay, so I think that you can see how these girls are doing it, and their action is not too bad. Okay, what are the different ways you can dribble a ball? So with just the left and right hand. So these are the ways in which you would train laterality in children. Remember, at the beginning, by age 4, you actually choose your left or right side as your dominant side, but as you get older, you will become more dominant in one of those hands. And as a phys teacher or a coach, you really want to make sure children use both sides so that they can learn for themselves, and also transfer that perceptual motor training to both sides of the body. Okay, I've shown you this video. What games do you play to develop the dribbling action? Just a question to you guys. Think about it from a teaching games for understanding perspective, from a Gentiles taxonomy perspective, and from a movement analysis perspective. Okay, how would you analyze a striking action? Okay, so I've got a video here of children striking off a tee. That's where you want to start. I'm just going to show you this video quickly. It's explaining the action to her. Okay, notice that hit really at a beginner level, and how would you analyze that, and how do you know what's right and what's wrong? So let's just look at that again. So yeah, they're actually playing the game, but what you want to do is create a situation where everyone can participate. It's no point these individuals on the side are waiting for the ball, which will in this case never even reach there, but you want all children to be participating. Again, games for all and developing their skills before they get to the point where they're actually playing the actual game, because though that skill isn't yet developed. Okay, I just want to see another one. This one, let's have a look here. Okay, misses the ball altogether. Straight arms. No perceptual awareness yet. There we go. Okay, so again, how would you analyze that? So what makes a good striking action? Stand side on to the target. So both those children did stand side on to the target. Eyes focus on the ball throughout the strike. The second child didn't really focus on the ball throughout the strike. Hands next to each other. Bottom hand matches the front hand. If you look at the picture, the bottom hand matches the front foot. So front foot and bottom hand at the bottom of the bat. Okay, steps forward towards the target with the foot. Those children did not step forward with the foot, they actually just stood still altogether. Hips then shoulders rotate. They didn't do that, they kept their arms straight and they just used their upper bodies and not their lower bodies. Ball contact made on the foot with straight arms. So you want the arms to straighten towards the end, but you definitely don't want the arms to be straight throughout the hit. And then follows through with bat around the body. So same as with the throwing action, dissipating that momentum. So I've just shown you those two videos. Again, have a look at them and see if you can do the action yourself, or if you can analyze it. How would you analyze the volleying action? I know there's many different types of volleying, so we are just going to look at volleyball volleying. Okay, so this is an example of children playing an adult-based game. So again, in class we looked at how we would modify this activity so that the children are actually set up for success. So this is why we played modified games. So what you'll notice here is that the coaches that are giving this lesson have started off way too advanced. Some of you in class did it with a balloon instead and just started to get your perceptual motor development there. So the goal is not to hit over a adult size net. I wouldn't even start with a net. I'd literally start with a child on the spot and just trying to get that action right. Then partner work, then wall work, and then hitting it over a low net so that their success factors improves. Again, these individuals imposing adult-based training on youngsters. Okay, shown you that video based on previous slide. Perhaps try the following, and yeah, I've just given some examples of how these coaches could modify the game for their children that they are training. Okay, now that you know how to assess, how would you teach, and I think that is an example of how you can break your lesson down into the teaching games for understanding. We're going to try this at schools, but I must warn you that your grade 1s might struggle with the game-based approach and the reflective questions. Grade 2s might struggle as well. Your grade 3 should be fine. So we are going to discover this together. Okay, so that is your different object control skills and how to teach them. Again, the practical work and how to regress and progress the activity we have done in class together. And I've emailed you those documents using Gentile's taxonomy as a framework, using the movement analysis framework, and also the teaching games for understanding. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and then of course practice makes perfect.